got information out about polio, and the marketing really took off. Glenn, who is our incoming president, is a former principal of one of the school districts in the Eugene area. And one of the fourth grade classes, and fourth grade is important when we talk about literacy and dictionaries and all. But the fourth graders decided to adopt polio as their targeted area, and they studied it for a whole year. And Glenn, again, marketing, lined, how many of you know Mary Lou Finnegan, who's our secretary, administrator, runs our club, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She also had polio. She and I went and talked to a fourth grade class, and we've been to 2 fourth grade classes, and I've been to Churchill High School talking about polio and about my experience. Nothing more that hits the heart more to a child and the questions they ask relate to what was it like. Tell us a little bit. So that personal experience, whether it's me or Mary Lou, it doesn't matter who the person is, the kids want to hear what polio is all about. Well, this article appeared in the paper, and pretty soon I started getting phone calls from other schools, and I've been to several now to talk about polio. But one of the projects we have is Pennies for Polio, right? Mm-hmm. Churchill High School has adopted that, and the Rotarian Club for downtown Rotary in Eugene has made that their project for Rotaract at Churchill High School. Interact, I'm sorry.
It's an Interact district project.
It's an Interact district project. So the people running that lined me up, and we went out, and they're doing a polio, Pennies for Polio. The school district we talked at did one, and here's what happens. We went out and talked, and I talked about my experience about having polio when I was 5 years old to the little fourth graders. Probably the most exciting audience I've ever spoken with. There were 2 fourth grade classes at the school. They all lined up on the gym floor, sitting cross-legged, and I was walking amongst them, between Mary Lou and I, talking about our experience. And they didn't understand the iron lung and what the iron lung is all about. But remember what are we going to do with that now? We were just looking at it. Oh, here. We had the little comic book. Do you remember? Any of you remember that? I got these out for the kids, and we put them up on a video. But when I was talking about an iron lung, they had no idea. They didn't have a clue what polio was, let alone anything. They're 4 years old. Polio is we've almost succeeded. We've almost eradicated polio, thanks to Rotary and the Gates Foundation and a few other groups. Polio is almost gone. But when I talked about polio, the most interesting thing that happened is I was talking about when I was a kid. I was in the iron lung, and I showed him a picture of an iron lung and talked about laying in this tube, and how I laid in the tube like the picture here. Remember this? Mm-hmm. I remember this like it was yesterday. But your whole body goes in the tube except for your neck. What isn't on the cartoon is there was a mirror right up above here. And in that mirror, my mom, who I mentioned in the article, was my angel. She stood right behind. The only thing I could see was that mirror, and she could stand, so her face was in the mirror. My neck was sticking out, and she would rub my temples and assure me everything was going to be okay. I was in there for 6 weeks. And they have little places where the nurse can reach in, make sure. One of the first things the kids wanted, well, how did you go to the bathroom? and the nurse could help you by having a bedpan and so forth, and emptying it and so forth. But they were really interested in that. And